And hello ladies and gentlemen out there. How's everybody going? This video is, well, let's see me, Rick Hoffman. Hi. I'm doing this video as a pro-medical marijuana post on YouTube here. And if you follow my channel, I've got over 200 hours of videos, all talking about cannabis. The facts, the scientific facts, the medical evidence of the efficacy, safety, and viability of cannabis and hemp, which are not the same. They're in the same family, but people have to get real and believe. Listen, hemp does not get you high. You can't smoke hemp. It contains CBD, cannabidiol, which is the anti-high. It knocks down THC. It takes away the buzz. And I got to give you some background on me. I'm 56, going on 80. My body has broken down in the military and 30 years in restaurants. I have worked myself to the bone. And in 2008-9, I started breaking down and aging more than my time. I have degenerative disc disease all up and down my spine, which gives rise to spondyloses and stenoses. And I've got bone growth over my vertebrae where my nerves come out. On top of all that, I've got arthritis, fibromyalgia, PTSS, PTSD, stenosis, spondylosis, fibro, DDD, arthritis, just a whole bunch of crap. Extreme pain. People have to understand pain and painkillers, get away moth, and why cannabis is the best adjunct to any medical therapy. Any. It is cannabis and hemp are the most medicinally active plants on this planet. Medicinally active. They are medicine. This is not about getting high. I never get high. I take morphine, sulfate, and pot, Seroquel, amitriptyline, Valium. I do not feel high off the morphine. Why? Well, break it down. I wake up in the morning is a 7 to 9 out of 10 pain. Extreme pain. 60 milligrams of time release and 30 milligrams of immediate release morphine is my breakfast. I sit up, I take my pills, I sit there for like 10 minutes before I can even get up and walk to the kitchen, stumble to the kitchen and make my coffee. And it's been 3 hours before I could even do this video. I'm just not ready for it. I've just been in pain all morning. This here is magnet therapy. It's not a seminary collar. I have magnets in the back of my head. I found that magnet therapy helps take another half point off my pain. So anyway, 56 going on 90 or 80 or whatever. I've always worked harder. I was in the airborne infantry, and I'm a small guy, small boned. I'm very fine boned, like my mother, bird bones. I've breaks, dislocations, ripped muscles, torn tendons. Both my Achilles tendons were blown out in a jump. Over 400 jumps and 400 hard-ass landings. And I served my country. And then I did 30 years plus in restaurants, from dishwasher up to manager. And my favorite spots were either waiting tables or cooking, because it was fast-paced, and I could work 8 to 12 hours with no break, because a break just broke my concentration, and I'd lose my get up and go. So I'd work through my breaks. And I had customers that loved me. As a server, just on Christmas, I made $500-600 in bonuses from all my people. And as a cook, I used to get tips, because I would do special orders for people that other cooks wouldn't do. And basically, I've worked myself to the bone, always trying to do what the bigger guys could do. That's why I scored in the top 1 percentile on the Armed Services entrance exam. I could have gone anywhere. The Navy wanted me, the Air Force wanted me. I joined the 82nd Airborne. Airborne infantry, yeah, combat. I learned medicine there too. And medicine has helped me in learning and managing myself and my pain levels. And I've got morphine sulfate now with cannabis, and it is the best combination of medicines for chronic and severe and intractable pain. And like I said, I never feel high off of my morphine or pot. I just feel a reduction in my pain levels. And because I never hit the zero, I never hit the bottom, so there's no morphine left to give me any euphoria. Trust me, it's true. I feel my Seroquel more than I feel cannabis or morphine. And I use Seroquel and amitriptyline to get to sleep at night. And it works. I've been on cannabis and morphine sulfate for going on 5 years now. I just got my 5th medical marijuana card in Arizona. I'm legally, medically prescribed cannabis in Arizona. And we got the greatest laws here. You get out of there. I'm allowed up to 5 ounces a month in concentrates or flowers. And it's great. It's one of the best programs they have. There's a guy up in Phoenix that's been protesting and saying that God doesn't want cannabis. Well, people have to get off their moral soapboxes, okay? You are not morally righteous. You cannot tell me that cannabis is a hazardous gateway drug. It is not. And it never will be. Let's break this. We'll finish this inside. See you in a sec. And we're back. Okay, so I'm doing this video for 2 people, 2 friends, Facebook. One's in Indiana, one's in Oklahoma. And you both got ballot initiatives coming up about medical marijuana. So they wanted me to shoot a video talking about it and addressing mayors, governors, lawmakers, legislators, senators, congressmen, doctors, chemists, science, pain management teams, RNs even, law enforcement officials, all the way up to the Oval Office. I'm not afraid. President Trump, if you're watching this, yay, it got to you. And now listen and let my words get to you. I say, I wake up as a 7 to 9, get my morphine in me. I start using my cannabis. It's not all about smoking. This is a tincture, THC tincture. Glycerin and THC, that's all that's in it. Put a few drops under your tongue. Hard candies, cherry, lemon, tea. Gallon-sized tea bags, 3 for $10. Awesome, 3 gallons of tea for $10. I also use South American ant venom, the Izul ant. This is stems and some bud soaked in Everclear that works as a great topical, and you can take a shot of it if you want. Like I said, I got the tincture, it works. Even a topical salve. It's got 1/8 of medically active cannabis in it. And I put it on this muscle in my neck all the time because that's one of the worst areas in my body. This muscle is bigger than this side. And it's been in a state of permanent cramp for 9 years. And the only thing that kills the pain is the ant venom and the cannabis. And the swelling never goes down. And I can touch it now, but earlier I couldn't do this. It blinding pain. And people got to understand that pain is subjective to the person, but everybody's systems works the same. Some works higher, some works lower, but everybody's system basically works the same with these things. And some background information, okay? when I was getting my Social Security, 2011 to 2013, I needed a psychiatrist. First, I tried to do my Social Security by myself, got denied. So I had to get a lawyer. Lawyer said, you need to go to a psychiatrist because of the PTSD. Okay. My psychiatrist was giving me escitalopram, venlafaxine, Klonopin, and Seroquel, on top of my doctor's OxyContin. 360 milligram OxyContins per day. I had a 180-degree personality change. I didn't see it. Everybody else saw it. And I started drinking to add to my pain killing because I was in such pain, and I had a monkey on my back. Oxy and psych meds put that monkey on my back. In 2013, I had a blackout at the wheel. Hydrocephaly. Boom. I was going to my doctor to get morphine and pot and get off the psych meds. On the way to the doctor's that day, I had a blackout. Well timed, because that's exactly what it was all about. It was about getting my medications changed for the better. I spent an overnight in the hospital. The pain, everything went away. I came home and immediately went into withdrawal symptoms from the oxy and psych meds. I was in the leather lazy boy wearing adult diapers for 5 days. And my wife had to help me into the shower. And, okay, it sounds gross, but boom, my bowels let go, just pure water, while I was standing in the shower. I had no control. Okay? That's withdrawal. The monkey going on, getting off your back. Really, really bad. And at the end of that 5 days, I was back in the doctor's office in 10-10 pain. My wife had to lead me around. She had to do all the talking because I could not communicate. If you don't know what 10-10 pain is, put your head in a car door and slam it repeatedly. And don't stop. That's 10-10 pain. Constant, intractable, non-stop pain that will not stop. Non-stop. Duh. OxyContin and psych meds screwed me up. So I cleaned off those. And I started morphine sulfate and cannabis. Now also at the time, I had chronic bronchitis and asthma. And I was using albuterol. Within 3 to 4 months of smoking cannabis, not even doing the concentrates yet, just hash and pot. No more asthma, no more bronchitis. Gone. I did not need my inhaler. I have not needed an inhaler for the past 4.5 years. Chronic bronchitis and asthma, gone. Why? I smoked cannabis. The Cannabaceae family of hemp and cannabis are the most medicinally effective plants on this planet, and they attenuate the symptoms of opiates and other drugs. It is the preferred method to get people off of heroin. Don't give them methadone. You're trading one addiction for another, and that person's always going to be coming back needing more methadone. Cannabis took me off of opiates, cleaned me up. And when I started morphine sulfate to get my pain down, and the cannabis attenuates those symptoms of addiction, so I don't have that monkey on my back. I can sit here and communicate. And like I said, I've got over 200 hours of these videos on my channel at rthuff415@gmail.com. 120 videos, 200 hours almost, all about cannabis and hemp and what good they are. And they are good. These morally righteous people, okay, I got somebody up in Phoenix. I just read this article in the 520 Cannabis in the Tucson Weekly. This guy's been lobbying against cannabis, saying that it's what God wants. I'm sorry, but all you religious idiots up on your soapbox telling us what God wants, you do not know what God wants. Read Genesis 1:29. If there's a God, he put those plants here and told us that it shall be as food for you. And what does food do? It's also medicine. We use foods for medicine. Rosemary, sage, those things have medicinally active properties. Terpenes, just like in marijuana, in things like that. Really strong smelling herbs. Mints, okay? We use peppermint. Parsley settles the stomach. That's why they used to put it on dishes. It's just a pretty garnish now, but they used to sell parsley on dishes in the old days because it sweetened the breath and settles the stomach. Plants are food and medicine. Hemp is a complete food. Hemp seed oil contains no cannabinoids. It's nothing to do with cannabis. It's hemp oil from the seed. It's the perfect protein with the right amount of gamma-linolenic acid, very rare, and the perfect balance of omega-3s and 6s. You cannot tell me hemp is bad. Now, industrially, hemp is a multi-billion or trillion-dollar crop that we need to utilize. Just yesterday, I was in the dispensary reading the Time magazine. Boom, this little thing that said 83%. I was like, 83% what? From 159 samples of tap water all around the globe, 159 samples, 83% of all of those tap water samples contained plastic fibers. Now, plastic is only man-made. Nature doesn't make plastic. Man makes plastic out of what? Fossil fuels. These plastics litter our beaches. Whales have been, these whales a few months back beached themselves trying to get well. And upon autopsy, they found that their guts were all tied up with plastic shopping bags and plastic water bottles, among other detritus of human existence that ends up in the water, okay, and endangers species. So if you use a plastic water bottle and you're just throwing it around the way on the beach, do not tell me that you're an ecological person, okay? No, and these plastic bottles are not being recycled. And this plastic lives for 450 years. Hemp-based plastics are quickly biodegradable and compostable. And they're safe and healthy. Do you know what you call a spill of hemp biodiesel? Fertilizer. Hemp makes biodiesel that you can taste without danger. You can't do that with gasoline or fossil fuels, oil. It gets into your body and gets you cancers. Hemp biodiesel doesn't do that. And you can make ethanol or methanol. Corn only gives us ethanol. You can't make methanol fuel out of it. Okay? It all comes down to cannabis is something that people need to realize is a medicine and a food that makes us healthy. It gives us health. A happy, hungry, healthy population from hemp and cannabis. Serious as a heart attack, folks. I ain't lying. I tell you the truth about me because I am the guinea pig here. I'm a guinea pig experiment for opiate therapy with cannabis. Okay? Now, if you are a doctor, pain management specialist, or something, and you're prescribing opiates, and you're not prescribing cannabis, you're doing a very, very grave disservice to your patients. Now, if you're a lawmaker, and one of these holier-than-thou people standing in the way of marijuana legalization, you are doing a grave disservice to your populace. You are. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Cannabis is a wonder drug. And the only thing that's keeping it down is propaganda, lies, and scare tactics. Yes. Propaganda, lies, and scare tactics. Christians Without Drugs on Facebook, they put this post out that said dabs are sweeping the nation, killing teenagers left and right, and they're injected in the eyeball. And people believed this. I went to this group and I saw all these comments and I said, holy Jesus Christ. I'm an atheist, sorry. But these holier-than-thou people, it's stupid to rail against something that you don't understand. And that's what it is. People out there need to understand what cannabis does. And you've got to follow my video series here. Okay? Because I tell you all the facts. Everything that's out there on the internet. I have gleaned all the information I can. And I have become an activist. Because cannabis works for me. And it's not about getting high. Because I don't. I don't get high off my morphine. So tell me, where's the monkey? I left him back behind in 2013. That monkey is no longer on my back. Only 2 to 4% of the population has hemp and cannabis allergies. That means almost 96 to 98% of the population of this world can benefit from cannabis. And hemp. See, hemp oil, hemp CBD, does not give anybody a buzz. Kills a seizure in children in a heartbeat. In seconds, within seconds of rubbing CBD oil on children's gums. Kills a seizure. And kills the pain, because if you kill the seizure, boom, they're not locked up. And their muscle pain goes away. And it helps. People are losing weight with CBD hemp oil. And it's not cannabis. It's got cannabinoids in it. But the cannabinoid of tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, that's what gets you psychoactive. Hemp contains less than 0.03% THC. It would not get a baby high. Or even a little dog. My dog takes hemp pumpkin treats we get from the dispensary. And it's great. She's 14 to 17 years old, and she's bouncy and happy and healthy. Because we give her hemp. Now, me, I use a CBD oil. I use high THC strains and cannabis salve. And my tea, my weed tea. And it works. And it doesn't get me high. Like I said, I don't feel the psychoactivity. Because I never hit that 0 point. My morphine takes me from a 7 to 9, brings me down to a 5, 6. That's quite a bit of pain. If you're in 7 to 9 pain, you know 5 to 6 is much better. It's still there, and it still hurts, but not as bad. It's like you stopped slamming your head in the door and you just slammed your fingers. See, now I'm making friendship bracelets and these keychains that you fold up, in a stack like that. And it hurts my fingers, but it's therapy. My fingers. And I use cannabis to help. And I also use magnets and compression therapy. Compression gloves with copper and zinc in them. And I've got these magnets. This magnet therapy called the Serenity 2000. There's 5 powerful magnets in here. And this is one single magnet. Look at the one single magnet. Come on. This one single magnet picks up the 5 magnets. And each of these magnets weighs about 2 ounces. So this here is about 12 to 14 ounces. And one of them holds up 5 of them. I put this thing on my neck. I feel it heat. When my neck starts to hurt, I start to feel heat. And it's the magnetism getting into my system here. And it helps the pain. It warms up and it relaxes muscles. Magnet therapy is awesome. I put these things on with a wrap. They give you these wraps. And this one here goes around the wrist or elbow. I got another one that goes around the elbow or knees and feet. I put one on my left foot, the top of my left foot. I put the 5 magnets on last night because my foot hurt from being out yesterday and going to the dispensary, shopping with the wife and all this, in and out, walking. And I walk with a staff that I have to lean on. It's a 5-foot tall staff. I have to lean on this thing. I have a walker in the house. 56 years old, I'm using a walker. Okay? And this isn't some traumatic injuries like missing limbs from the war. This is just regular routine pain from getting old and breaking down, from being a multitasker and a chronic overworker all my life. I wish I could run. I wish I could work. I miss work. That's why I do I do coloring with gel pens and adult coloring books. I make the bracelets and the keychains. I write poetry. I was not able to write any poetry back in the Oxy and Psych Med days. I was not in my right mind. And I was drinking extra on top of it. Okay? And I apologized to my doctor for that. And he still saw fit to give me the morphine sulfate with cannabis. And he thought, and even I thought, cannabis, opiates, it's scheduled as a Schedule 1 narcotic. No. It's only classed because it's out of hate, fear, and misinformation, and the lies and the propaganda. That's the only reason cannabis is on the schedule of narcotics. And it does not belong there. And it has not ever belonged there. Because it is not an opiate. It does not produce the euphoria that an opiate does. And it is not addictive. It is anti-addiction. Since getting morphine with pot, I never feel the morphine because my pain level never hit 0. If I don't hit the 0, there's no euphoria. The morphine's gone. Then here, boom, the pot's gone. And I'm bottom out as a 3 on the pain scale. Look it up. It's like a mild toothache. Just enough to mess up your head and you can't think straight. Okay? That's what a 3 is. And I've lived as a 5'6" for like years. And now that I've gotten to more and more of the hemp and more of the concentrates of cannabis, I have gotten myself down, and now magnet therapy has helped me get down to a 3. And since I never hit 0 and pain-free, I never feel the euphoria from anything. My Seroquel is the only thing that really affects me. It will make my stomach go woo and my head go woo, and it helps me sleep. That's Seroquel. It's the little half pills you see in here. I take a 60 milligram time release and a 30 milligram immediate release morphine for breakfast. Doesn't upset my stomach, doesn't bother me. It brings my pain levels down and lets me enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning. And the coffee actually helps spur it through into my system. And then I start drinking my weed tea, I take my tincture, because the smoking makes me cough. And the concentrates in that and the edibles and drinkables don't affect you the same as smoking. People have to realize that there's different ways of affecting your body with cannabis. Smoking buds gets you that immediate euphoria for some people, not me. Okay? With me, these concentrates, the things that take time, but after a little bit of time, I say, wow, my pain's gone, or my pain's dropped. My pain hasn't been gone since 2009. Trust me. And I hurt, so I'm rocking. But I'm forthright with what is wrong with me, because I want people to realize that this is truth. These are facts. I have been the guinea pig, and I have the facts. And I've gone over the internet, and I've gleaned up all this information. Now, like I said, I've got fibromyalgia, degenerative disc disease, that gives rise to the spondylosis. It's where my discs are extruding out and pressing on my spinal cord. And some of my discs are deteriorating, and they're letting the vertebrae rub on each other. Not a good feeling, folks. I can go like this, and I can feel my discs slipping in my neck. It's not a good feeling. That's why I wear this collar, because it keeps me from moving my neck. And I have this pillow that I wear around my neck when I'm in the car that helps keep me from getting thrown around. Because if I don't, I can't move the next day from the neck down. I'm worthless. I can't get out of bed. I haven't slept in a bed since 2009. Because one day of work used to make me go 3 days of recovery. And that next day, in bed, I'd wake up in the morning. I could not move. Because I'd move around in my sleep. And I would knock things out of joint. And slip discs. And I could not even roll myself out of bed until I let my pills soak into my body. And I was able to swing my legs out and push myself up off the bed. And then I used a walker to get around the house. I've inherited my dad's walker since he died the other year. And it's got a seat on it because I can go around the house. It's got brakes and a lock. And I can turn around and sit on it. And I've had to. But now I use this magnet belt. This thing's got those magnets. 16 of them on this. If I wear this 24/7. I just took it off to show y'all. If I don't wear this all day today, by tomorrow morning, I'll be in pain. And I'll be walking around like this, bent over, from my lumbar area. Magnet therapy helps me to stand upright. And it warms and helps the pain in my neck, which is one of the very worst parts of I've got. Because I've had multiple whiplashes and concussions, dislocations, breaks, and my hands shake like that all the time from the arthritis. And I force myself to do the braiding, and I do my writing, and I do my poetry, and I do my coloring. Because I'm disabled and homebound. And I live in the middle of nowhere. My nearest neighbor is over 100 yards away. And I'm surrounded by mesquite trees. I can't see anybody. I can barely see the roof of my second closest neighbor, 150 yards away. I can just see the top of their roof over the trees. We love where we live. I'm secluded. And I don't get cabin fever because I can keep myself occupied, for one. And second, I have cannabis. And it helps mediate the seclusion and keeps me from getting cabin fever. And it keeps me from getting that monkey on my back from the morphine. I will never again worry as long as I have pot. And I'm adamant about, I've talked to some people online that are like, oh, can I come over and smoke some? I said, do you have a card? Are you a carded cannabis user in Arizona? No. Sorry, you can't come over. I will not smoke with anybody who is not legally prescribed cannabis in Arizona. Because I promised my doctor And I'm in such pain, I cannot afford to lose morphine and pot because of its effect on my health. It helps me live and it gives me a quality of life. And people have to understand that quality of life is very, very important. It's one of the most important things, especially when you're living like me, secluded and homebound. I can't drive anymore. I drive our road, like down to the mailbox, because it's over a quarter mile away, and I can't walk that far. It's a half-mile round trip. I drive down my road. I'm not on the highway, so I don't need a license. I drive my truck down to the mailbox, drive it back home. Someday I might be able to actually walk back to the mailbox and home, like I used to. But now it kills me. And by the time I get home, again, I'm bent over, tired, and I have to sleep. I sleep 12 hours a day. Usually on a 5 to 6 hours on, 5 to 6 hours sleeping. I sleep twice a day, 4 to 5 hours at a time. After I do this video, while it's uploading, I will be sleeping. And by the time I wake up, it'll be ready for me to share. And I hope it gets out to everybody. Okay, the governor of Oklahoma, the governor of Indiana. Your people deserve to use cannabis. It is safe. It's not going to turn our children into addicts. It is not going to turn anybody into an addict. Because it is anti-addiction. And that's what I have proven. I have proven it with myself. And I have found the evidence on the internet that this is true. And that's why I've done all these videos. To tell the truth. To let people know that cannabis is not what reefer madness was. Okay? In the 30s, reefer madness was based on lies and bullshit propaganda and scare tactics. Okay? That's all it was. I have a gun sitting right here because I live secluded. I get illegals coming through my property all the time. So I have a gun. I'm responsible. I haven't shot it in over a year and a half. I just clean it routinely. But I have snakes. I shoot rattlers. Okay? My coyotes are fine. They're scared of me. We feed them. They don't mess with the feeder. But I do shoot rattlesnakes. Okay? And I usually get them with my first shot. With all my pain on opiates and marijuana. Imagine that. Okay? In Reefer Madness, they showed this guy getting all stoked up, picks up a gun and just shoots a person at random, and everybody laughs. Scare tactics. That does not happen. All somebody on cannabis wants to do is eat, cuddle with their dog, and watch Netflix. Okay? Now, just yesterday in the 520 article in Tucson Weekly, it talked about this holy roller guy up in Phoenix protesting this one dispensary and trying to get pot banned in Arizona again. Well, he uses flawed data. He knows nothing about this. He knows none of the science of medical marijuana. Nothing. All he does is he's just got this God trip. And he says, God doesn't want us to have this. Well, he doesn't want us to have this, and he's pushing it over onto God and trying to make it his fault. Okay? That's why I'm an atheist, because people abuse their religion. Jim and Tammy Faye Baker back in the day. Okay? Everybody was giving them money. It was that other guy. I can't remember his name, but he said, if you don't give me $1 million, God said he's going to take me home. Well, what? No. These holy rollers and these mega churches spending $1 million on a huge cross instead of donating that money to homeless shelters for homeless children and veterans. Okay? Instead of helping other people, they build their church up bigger. And they've got these churches that hold 20,000 people. And all these people are giving them money. They're playing with people's minds. I'm sorry, that's the way I look at it as an atheist. But to go against cannabis and hemp and use God as an excuse. No, read Genesis 1:29. Now here's something I've learned off the internet. The word hemp and the word cannabis have been scrubbed from every school book in this country, and the Smithsonian even has no mention of hemp. Yet, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin grew hemp, used hemp, smoked cannabis. Ben Franklin's printing press was used for hemp paper. Poor Richard's Almanac was written on hemp paper from his hemp fields, on his printing presses. Lincoln, in the 1850s, did a Hohner harmonica advertisement. And he said, I like nothing better than to sit on my front porch in my favorite rocking chair, smoking a bowl of sweet hemp and playing my Hohner harmonica. Smoking sweet hemp. Cannabis. Obama, at least he said, yes, I inhaled frequently. That was the point. Whereas Clinton said, oh, I puffed it, but I didn't inhale. Yeah, get off that. Anybody that smokes pot, smoked pot. They inhaled. Don't give me that crap that you didn't inhale. Okay, if you smoked, you smoked. I've smoked since the age of 8. That's when I started cigarettes. Within 3 months, I tried pot. By the time I was 10 years old, I'd tripped on LSD, taken cocaine, and amphetamines, and sleeping pills. I'd been through the whole gamut. And here I am, 56 years old, broken down. And I don't have any monkeys on my back. I've never really had them. I've always dropped it, addictions. When I was on cocaine back in the day, I got busted. Did my time. Probation. But I did it, I paid a fine. I did my community service. Everything was fine. I told my doctor. I did not lie to him. I said I started smoking at 8, pot at 8, LSD and amphetamines and sleeping pills. And I drank many years. I'm a 10th generation alcoholic on both sides of my family. I have a propensity to drink a lot. I can drink anybody under the table. I drank my son-in-law under the table at 50 years old, and he was 20. I drank him under the table and went to work the next day. I used to go to work and these guys say, oh, I drank a 12-pack last night. Man, I'm so hungover. I used to drink big cans of Foster's, the big, I can't remember, 25-ounce cans. 5 a night, 6 a night. That's like a case of regular beer. And I'd be at work the next day running circles around these guys. And they're going, They couldn't handle it. Okay? If you can't handle your drinking, don't drink. Because their work performance suffered. My work performance never suffered because of drugs or alcohol. Okay? I worked. And I ran circles around these guys half my age or less. Always did it. And yes, it wore me out. But I had a good life. I enjoyed my work. I wish I could go back to work. I pray. If there was a God, I prayed to go back to work, to be able to handle it again. Because I loved cooking and waiting tables. I loved the communication of people. My customers were my best friends who gave me money just by me serving them. And I made a lot of money. I made more money than servers 18, 19, 20 years old. I'm at 40. And they're going, how come he gets to work smoking all by himself? It's because he can. Okay? 3 servers and non-smoking, me and smoking. With just as many tables as 3 people. And I handled it. And I made bucks. I made bank. and I could carry out 2 40-pound trays of food and shuffle it out to people like a Vegas dealer. Okay? That's my work ethic. And that's why I wish I could work again. And that's why I keep doing things at home. But I'm going off all over the place here. I tried to make a script, but I don't follow it. But I have to talk about these people in the moral right trying to say that cannabis is the devil's weed. No. Get this. In the Middle East, they taught us in school that papyrus was what they used for making paper. Okay, sure. Get this. Papyrus grows in wet, swampy areas. Most of the Middle East is desert. Cannabis and hemp use 1/4 of the water of any other crop. The Middle East used hashish. Hashish comes from the word hashash, which is assassin, from Iran. The Persian assassins were named for hashish because they smoked up the hash and they went out and did their assassin work. It's a sacrament. Rastafarians, it is a sacrament for their religion, for talking to their God. Okay? And they are the healthiest people. Okay? There was a doctor in Jamaica who said, he asked this guy, he says, how come I never see too many of your people come into my doctor's office? The guy said, you must study the herb. And this guy did. And he found out that's why the Rastafarians have no cancers. And if they do, they get cured quickly, without chemotherapy or radiation. 70% of chemo and radiation patients die. 70% of cancer patients treated with cannabis and active cannabinoids lived. Think about those numbers. What is morally right? Cannabis. Cannabis is more morally right than these doctors who push chemotherapy on cancers that has been proven ineffective. If chemo's been proven ineffective, why do they still force it? $5,000 to $10,000 for a bottle of poison every week, and when you die, your family gets the bill. Okay, I'm spending $400 a month on cannabis, and I'm healthy, wealthy, and wise. I have emphysema, but it's going away. I had asthma and bronchitis. They're gone. Fibromyalgia. Morgan Freeman treats his fibromyalgia with cannabis. There's a whole bunch of other stars that have fibromyalgia because some of them do their own stunt work, and they've injured themselves. And cannabis is preferred over opiates for helping people get through pain. Simple, okay? So, like I say, if you're standing in the way of cannabis legalization, you're doing a grave disservice to the populace. It's wrong. So, like I said, I went over that. What did I talk about? Let's see. Smoked all my life since 8. I get balanced and equalized. And like I said, if people want to talk about religion, hemp and pot have been used as sacraments in all kinds of religions over the years. And these people are healthier. Plastic fibers, sugar in it. Yeah, I've been over all that. Okay, this can be an hour long. I don't want it to be too long, but I want people to hear and understand the facts and science behind cannabis. It is a medicine. Now we got 29 states and DC. I got a list of these states here. Okay. And some of these things are just ridiculous. Okay, there's some of these have Minnesota. You can only get a 30-day supply of non-smokable, which means this stuff: tinctures, topicals, candies, tea. That's ridiculous. Let people smoke the weed. Montana, you can use 1 ounce and have 4 mature plants and 12 seedlings. Arizona, I get 5 ounces a month. And I don't cultivate, but if you do, you can get 12 plants. I don't cultivate because I have a brown thumb. But some of these states have hemp. I can't remember what state it was. But hemp is not cannabis. Hemp does not work like cannabis. Okay? It does help with pain and weight loss and mental issues. And it kills seizures in children. But it does not have all of the medical benefits of cannabis. And cannabis, concentrated oil, just a drop, a half grain of rice a day, and slowly build up over a 90-day period and ingest, I can't remember, is it 90 grams? If you do 90 grams in 90 days of this cannabis oil, cures cancers. Most all cancers. 34 proven cancers, including the 4 worst cancers that do not respond to the chemo and radiation, yet the cancer industry still pushes it on you and says, well, it may work on you and it may put you in remission. Remission! Remission is not a cure. This is the cure for cancer. I've got a syringe of Bert Simpson oil in there I could show you. Let me show you that. Okay, people want to talk about cancer? This is the cure for cancer. This is a very extremely thick, viscous cannabis oil. This probably came off of like 30 or 40 plants. That's how concentrated it is. It's the cure for cancer. If you can ingest 90 grams over 90 days, you're almost definitely guaranteed to cure yourself of cancer. Costs $1,200 to $1,800. How much does a bottle of chemo poison cost? Anywhere from $1,500 to $10,000, depending on your insurance and the doctors and the hospital. It's ridiculous. The Cancer Treatment Center is bullcrap. If they're not using cannabis, they're not curing cancer. Okay? All the cancer industry can do is promise remission, possibly. The cancer industry is not allowed to use the word cure. Only remission. The doctors are not allowed to say, we can cure your cancer. They will say, we'll put your cancer in remission. And chemo, drugs, and radiation stays in your body forever. Cannabis is gone within 90 days. That's a hair sample. Pee sample, 30 days. Hair sample, 90 days. It's gone. It's out of your body. But as you ingest cannabinoids, THC, CBD, CBC, CBG, CBN, CBR, and then the Vs, the THCV, the viverins, and acids, okay? All these different types of cannabinoids have specific targeting of the body, okay? They work in specific, your body is full of the endocannabinoid system, a series of receptors that takes cannabinoids in. As they're coming through the bloodstream, your body goes, I need that. I need CBC and a little CBN. Your body takes cannabinoids and puts them to use to produce a wholesome, healthy body. That's what cannabis does. Cannabis is anti-violent. People don't shoot people on pot. It's the person, not the pot. If people get addicted, it's the person. You have an addictive personality, like I do. Okay? I could take up drinking again and drink just like I used to. And fine. but I don't because I'll lose my scripts. And I can't afford to lose my morphine and pot. Not because I'm hooked on them, but because of my pain levels. Okay? And if you saw my x-rays and CT scans, MRIs, you would go, holy shit. How the hell are you walking around on a daily basis? Morphine and pot. That's it, folks. Cannabis and opiates is the perfect adjunct. We've got all these new drugs coming out. The liraglutide, duraglutide, Ibrance. I saw 3 new ones just yesterday alone. New drugs that I've never heard of before. And I pay attention to commercials. I listen to everything going on. And I soak it in and I listen. The very first side effects of a drug for psoriasis of your skin, the very first side effect they mention is tuberculosis and suicidal thoughts and depression. Cannabis does not do that. Cannabis is opposite of that. Cannabis cures stress and depression. It kills pain. It controls weight. It cures cancers. It helps your body heal itself. Me? I am degenerating. There is no stopping it. Cannabis helps mediate neurogenesis of my body and the neurodegenerative problems I have. But that's all it does, it mediates it. It can't cure it. I'm too far gone. But I would not have a quality of life at all if it were not for the cannabis. I'd be laying right here on the couch where I sleep like this, on my right side, semi-fetal position, always, since 2009. Either here on the couch with a Sobakawa pillow, or Debbie got me a bed that's about 24 inches thick, 6 foot by 3 foot, and when I lay in it, it sucks me in. And I'm able to lay still in one position. And that's the only way I can get up in the morning. Because if I sleep in a regular bed, I roll. And when I roll, things go out of joint. I've woken up with my shoulder out of joint here, where I've rolled over on my left side and rolled completely over and popped my left shoulder out. And I'm walking around like this. And I couldn't get out of bed. And I only had one arm to help me. And I couldn't even swing my feet over because of my lower back, which also slipped out in the middle of the night because of my twisting and turning and tossing and turning. So I sleep here. I have these extra cushions on top of the couch, and this pillow, and this half-moon pillow here. And that's what helps me sleep in my one position. And I have to, or else I wake up and I can't move. I can't do these videos. I can't do my braiding. I can't even pay attention to TV. I have laid here, back in 2009 to 2013, I would lay here staring at the TV all day long, and it's not even turned on. And I'm sitting there with the remote. I don't even pick up the remote. All I could do was a blank pain stare. Now, I have fibro flares and flare-ups of my arthritis and everything, but they are no longer debilitating. Why? Cannabis. So, what do you people out there want to do? Mr. President, governors, mayors, law enforcement people, what do you want? Do you want a population of violent drunks on the road, running people over and getting into accidents, killing themselves and maybe other people? Do you want that? Because pot will not give you that. Alcohol does. Yet, what do? From 18 to 21, we allow people to start drinking. All you need is an ID card that says you're over 18 or over 21, depending on the state. And you can drink all you want. You can buy all you want at the store and go home and just drown yourself in alcohol. Okay? And it's accepted by society. So why isn't this accepted by society? It's safer than alcohol. There is no violence from alcohol or from cannabis. There is no domestic violence. You don't want to get mad. You don't want to get arguing. You just want to chill. Eat Cheetos and snuggle with your dog and watch Netflix, like I said. That's it. So these holier-than-thou people on their soapboxes saying God doesn't want us to have pot. Get off it. Okay? Because more than likely, hemp or cannabis was one of the things that they brought to the baby Jesus, the three wise men, if it all happened that way. If it really happened. Hemp and cannabis were included with the frankincense and myrrh because it's medicinally active, and everybody has known this since the dawn of man. People have used hemp and cannabis medicinally as a food and a medicine. The continued prohibition of cannabis and hemp as a narcotic? Get off that high horse, get down off your soapboxes, and join us in reality land. Do a simple Google search on the internet. Okay? Learn what cannabinoids are. Learn what they do. See the facts, see the proof, hear the evidence for yourself, and believe it. You can't make me believe in a God because you cannot show him to me. They go, oh, this is the Bible. It's proof. No, it's not. Man wrote that book. And for all we know, they were smoking pot and made this shit up. We don't know. But that's why I'm an atheist. Because you can't show me. And I'm not from Missouri, but show me. Show me God. Prove to me there was a Jesus. And if there was, that he did all these miracles. You can't. If all you can do is point to a printed book that has been rewritten over and over and over throughout the decades and millennia by other people who think, oh, I don't like this. You know, there were not 7 deadly sins back in the day. There were 5. A new pope added the 2 and changed around some of the first 5. Okay? A pope, a person, a man who believes in an invisible entity who supposedly knows how to build DNA. Okay, just think. This person created the double helix of DNA with adenine, cytosine, tyrosine, and guanine. Okay? So God's a physicist and a geneticist and a chemist and a biologist and a nutritionist. Think. Think, people. Don't use God as an excuse for cannabis. Mary Magdalene was probably bathing Jesus' feet in hemp oil. They said anointed with oil. I'll bet you it was hemp. Because that's one of the prevalent crops in the Middle East. Because it grows good there. And it's been around since the dawn of man. It was in our food chain before 1937. Hemp was in the food chain. We fed it to our animals. It would come out in their cow's milk, and it would come out in their meat. Ever since the hemp has gone out, that's when people started becoming lactose intolerant. That's when we started to get rise to more and more cancers after the prohibition of cannabis. So tell me, President Trump, governors of states, law enforcement, doctors, scientists, geneticists, pharmacists, you all need to stand shoulder to shoulder and tell the AMA that this is truth. This is fact. Dr. Oz, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, I believe them more than Vivek Murthy, our Surgeon General, who's against pot. He should not be. He should be the first person to say that, yes, we need cannabis because it cures cancers and it cures all these other syndromes, diseases, manages the symptoms of incurable diseases. and makes a person's quality of life better than it was, like it has for me. It has improved the quality of my life since 2013. So, peace, love, truth, and happiness, folks. It's not about getting stoned. It's about getting healed. It's about well-being and a quality of life. And if you're going to give people opiates, you better give them cannabis, or else you're doing them harm. Okay? Primum non nocere. Okay? The first started the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. So if you're prescribing opiates without cannabis, you are breaking the Hippocratic Oath. You're doing harm. You're putting a monkey on that person's back. And then you're giving them other different opiates to get them off the original opiates you got them hooked on. Whereas if you just give them cannabis, they'll get off the opiates. Or use less, depending on their pains. Okay? Like me, my pains are non-stop, 24/7. Every morning I wake up 7 to 9. Because all my opiates are gone, my pot's gone. And I have to replenish my body with opiates and cannabis. And I get through the day. It took me 2 hours to get ready for this video before I was able to sit here and go, yay, I can talk to you. And I need to start medicating anyway. So, I'm going to do my little tincture here and tell everybody that cannabis and cannabinoids and hemp with CBD and other cannabinoids is the single greatest medicinal plant on this planet. Industrial hemp can save this planet. Cannabis can save the health of millions of people. And it can save millions of people's mental problems when they get hooked on opiates and other medications. Just think, people. Before you sit there and tell me that God doesn't want pot, you better be able to show me God. And don't just show me a book and tell me that it's true. Okay? I think the Bible is the greatest work of fiction ever. You ever see the movie The Greatest Story Told? Blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, okay? Again, come on. Max von Sydow, good actor. But Jesus? Jesus was black hair, brown eyes, Middle Eastern, okay? Brown-skinned. And in the movie, The Greatest Story Ever Told, the quote, somebody had questioned Jesus about faith, and he said, "It is easier to pass a camel through the eye of a needle than to do some such and such with faith." You know what the ancient Aramaic is? It's a kamela. Kamela means rope. They translated it into camel. The Bible's full of all kinds of mistranslations from the original Aramaic. I was married to an Aramaic scholar, my second wife. Yes, she could read Aramaic, like we read English. She showed me all these discrepancies between the Bible and this, and she believed in God. But she saw all these conflicting things between the original Dead Sea Scrolls and today's Bibles. So, don't tell me it's religious, okay? Religions are against it. There's at least 5 major religions that use this as a sacrament around the world. And many cultures use it as a medicine, as well as a food. And hemp itself is a food source. I drink hemp milk because I'm lactose intolerant. And that may have come around from vaccinations. Because I I wasn't lactose intolerant. When I was younger, I could drink milk by the gallon. No problems. No diarrhea, no cramps, no gas, no problems. Okay? But when I was in junior high, we got vaccinated for something. And I went home one day after football practice and I downed a glass of milk. Boom. Gut cramps. Diarrhea. Explosive. Lactose intolerance. Something in the vaccines. Vaccines are dangerous. You don't know what these things are. These are live viruses that are sticking in our bodies. Okay? What it all comes down to is that things like Rick Simpson oil right there, cures cancers. Cannabis cures addictions, attenuates the symptoms of addiction, and helps a person get off of those drugs if they need to. Or it gives you a quality of life while you're on the drugs, like it does for me. And that's what it's all about, people. It's all about healing the body and the mind, the soul, the aura. And it isn't about finding Jesus, and it isn't about getting stoned. It is not about getting high. Because I don't even get red eyes from it. Unless I get the smoke directly in my eye and it burns. That's what makes my eyes red. Cannabis is the single safest, most medicinally active plant on this planet, and the continued prohibition of such is a grave disservice to mankind and this planet. As we keep prohibition of hemp, Arizona farmers wanted to grow hemp because cotton prices are dropping. Okay, and there's cotton fields all around here, but they're not producing because it's not financially good for the farmers. They wanted to start growing hemp because there is a growing hemp market, like my hemp CBD oil here. Okay, my friend Tracy sells this stuff legally. Okay, and it works, and it's not psychoactive. It is not addicting. It helps people. Now, when did helping people become passé? When? When did it come to be about God doesn't want it, so, or rather it's I don't want it, so I'll tell you that God doesn't want it. Get off those horses. Get off your soapboxes, people. The facts are the facts, and cannabis is the single greatest medicinal plant we could ever utilize. And industrial hemp has the ability to save our environment. Okay? When the hurricane hit, Hurricane Sandy, was it, that hit Louisiana and flooded New Orleans? We sent millions of bottles of water down there. Millions of plastic water bottles that ended up on the beaches. Washed up on the beaches from the Gulf of Mexico because they were thrown out and they went out to sea and they were not being recycled. And that's where it kills the wildlife, the sea life. Oil-based plastics kills marine life and animals all over the world. And with the proof of 83% of the tap water in this world containing plastic fibers, should tell people that hemp-based plastics, quickly biodegradable, 30 to 60 days, and you can compost it and you can use it. You can eat it. You can't eat a plastic water bottle now. Oil-based? No, it's bad for you. It releases estrogens in your body. Bad estrogens. Okay? And if you reuse plastic over and over again, you're leaching estrogens out of that plastic into your body. You use a bottle You need to get it recycled. And don't put it in the recycle bin, because I've seen Waste Management pick up garbage and recycle at the same time and put it in the same frickin' truck. And it went to the landfill. So don't tell me recycling works. I have seen it with my own two eyes. And it's out there on the internet. Look it up, people. Stop listening to the holy rollers and stop listening to people like Jeff Sessions. I'm sorry, Mr. Sessions, but you're an ignorant butthead, continuing the prohibition of cannabis just because you don't like it. Well, you have got to learn the facts. Here it is in a video. All my other videos that are behind this, watch them, listen to them, learn, do a Google search, read, okay? Learn the facts. And the facts are that cannabis is great. Not for getting high, not as a lifestyle, but as a quality of life. Mediating neurogenesis and pain, anxiolytic, anti-tumoral, anti-anxiety, anti-stress, antidepressant. I don't take my Valium because my pot works like my Valium. I do sometimes when my throat's too raw to smoke. I'll pop a Valium. People have got to learn. And I'm hoping that this video goes everywhere. To the Oval Office, Mr. President. I served my country. And I learned. I have a medical background. I was a combat medic. I know how to do all kinds of stuff. Battlefield surgery. All in whatever I carried in my bag. Okay? I know medicine. I'm not an idiot. I have 167 IQ. And it has gone up over the years as I smoked weed. So you can't tell me. I gained 35 points in the past 4 years. My last IQ test was 135. Now I'm 167. 32 points. 32 points, yeah. And I've smoked pot in all that time. So don't tell me that pot makes us stupid. Don't tell me it makes you violent. My wife and I don't even hardly disagree on anything. We like the same TV programs. She likes hip-hop. I like Rush, heavy metal rock. But she's got 4 Rush concerts under her belt since she met me. One Rush concert was 2 days before our wedding. We went up to Phoenix and saw Rush. Came back home, got married. Right out here in the yard. We love our wildlife here. We love where we live. And I'm glad because I don't have anybody around me that's going to go, oh my God, call the cops. There's somebody smoking pot next door. If anybody smells my pot, they don't know where it came from. And I don't smoke out the house. I don't hotbox. I don't fill the house with smoke. I don't have the need, okay? I use my pot medicinally. So, it's time to shut this down. Hour and 18 minutes here. It all comes down to listening, learning, searching, reading, getting the facts. And the facts are that cannabis is great. Yes. Am I a little biased? Yeah. But why? I told you. Oxycontin and psych meds screwed me up. Morphine and cannabis fixed me. And the morphine just helped my pain. It's the cannabis that gave me the quality of life. So, if you're a doctor and a medical professional, what do you want for your patients? Do you want a patient addicted to opiates, or do you want a patient that can take opiates and cannabis and get by? And if you're a lawmaker, why stand in the way of a medicine that can treat your citizens? Why? Mr. President, if it makes it to the Oval Office, please listen. I've done my time. I've served my country. I've worked my butt off 50 years. I started working when I was 8, 9, hand milking cows for room and board at a friend's farm. And cannabis has always, it has never failed to make my life better. It has improved the quality of my life ever since I've gotten down this road of chronic pain and all these degenerative diseases that I have. Okay? Cannabis helps. You need to help legalize cannabis so that you can help the rest of the people in this world. Because if the U.S. goes total, lift the ban on cannabis and just let people get medically prescribed cannabis, the rest of the world will see it. In fact, why don't we keep up with the rest of the world? Poland and some other Soviet bloc states have now legalized cannabis. North Korea, you can't say shit about the government, but you can smoke pot. You can grow it. You can give it away. You can sell it. You can do whatever you want with it. North Korea, one of the most communist, backwards-ass countries on this planet, because of Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un. Okay? They allow cannabis. Okay? And this is a communist state. Think. They realize it's a medicine and a food source that works as a medicine. So, what's right? Yes, cannabis or no cannabis? What do you think is right? With all the facts I've given you, cannabis is right. Opiates alone is not good. I'm living proof. I've been through the gamut. Okay? I've been there and done that. I've seen the elephant. I've smelled the smoke. I know what's going on. And I study and I learn. And I've learned the facts. So the facts are that cannabis is the best medicine we could use. And hemp is medicine for the environment. We need to lift the prohibition. We need governors, mayors, law enforcement, doctors, medical professionals, and the President of the United States to lift this ignorant ban and get the DEA out of it. The DEA should have nothing to do with cannabis, except to interdict incoming from the cartels. And if we just legalize it across the board in America, guess what, folks? That cuts the cartels off. Simple. Stop dumping $1 billion a year into the drug war on cannabis. Start worrying about opiates, morphine, heroin, cocaine. Worry about that. But if we cut the cartels off of pot, there is nothing to worry about. There will be no illegal pot coming across the border. We can spend that money on better things. Why? Why can't we do this, Mr. President? Everybody out there, why can't we do this? Why can't you guys stand shoulder to shoulder and help us legalize? Tell the AMA, tell the pharmaceutical industry that they are now on notice, that they have got to stop inventing these poisons. They're reinventing the wheel. And they're putting out these poisons. And they're telling us to ask our doctor for them. If you have the disease, your doctor knows this, and he will tell you you need it. These commercials are preying on the hypochondriac population, and it's bullshit, and it needs to stop. These drugs are the most dangerous poisons in the market nowadays, and cannabis is the cure for all of them. So yes, I get adamant. I get pissy because I see these Ibrants and Lyrica and Humira, these things that come out. They made me puke blood. I've been through the gamut of the biologics. I puked blood after the first dose. They tell you to take it at bedtime. Well, boom, I'm laying in bed. Boom, I got stabbed with a knife. Ugh, I'd go and barf. Looked like coffee grounds in my barf, and it was blood. First dose, every time. And now these drugs are coming out, and the very first thing they say is you have a risk of contracting tuberculosis, bronchitis, asthma, suicidal thoughts and actions. Pot does not do any of that. It is anti-addiction. It is anti-everything that's bad. It is anti-pharmaceutical. So, like I said, if you're not prescribing cannabis with your opiates, you're doing your grave disservice to your patients. And if you're not helping legalize it, you're doing a grave disservice to the population of this country. So let's get going. Let's legalize. Totally. Mr. Trump, just lift the ban. Don't veto the bill. Pass the bill. Make the bill. Be the president who brought America health and brought us back to where we were 100 or 80 years ago. 80 years of ignorant prohibition. It needs to stop. And we need everybody's help. So if you're watching this video, share it, share it, share it. Tag your legislatures, tag your senators, tag your congressmen, tag the president. And say, this is fact. Cannabis heals. Cannabis attenuates the symptoms of addiction. It is the wonder drug. It's a wonder plant. It's not a drug, it's a medicine. What they're pushing on TV are drugs and poisons. Cannabis is medicine. Why are we allowing alcohol commercials, but not tobacco? More people die of alcohol than tobacco ever will. Okay? More people die of lung cancer that never smoked a thing in their life than cigarettes. So don't tell me cigarettes cause lung cancer. Maybe some bronchitis and asthma, but not lung cancer. Lung cancer comes about from the environment. We're breathing plastics and shit that's in the air. Smog and pollutants. Hemp biodiesel emits oxygen instead of pollutants. Think about it. We need to be OPEC independent, and we need to start utilizing industrial hemp to save our environment and to save this planet, to save the wildlife. We don't want whales beaching themselves because they've got these blockages of man-made oil-based plastics in their system. Hemp, they would have digested it and passed it if it was hemp plastics. Simple. Almost too simple for some people. People need to get off their high horses and soapboxes and come down and join us in reality. Cannabis is great. Thank you very much for your time. Peace out. It's not about getting stoned. It's not about being a stoner. It's about getting healed. Thank you.